Good morning. Welcome to the Fun Side of Business podcast. I am one of your hosts, Nick Hampton.
And I'm your other host, Gemma Addison.
Good morning, Gem.
Morning, Nick. How are you?
Awesome, happy. The sun is shining.
Because you've got the best
co-host. I mean, I don't know the sun's shining, but I'm just going to guess that whenever we release this episode, the sun's going to be shining.
Why would it not be? We're in the UK.
Positivity to everyone, right? Okay, today's guest. So, to you, Uncle Martin.
Uncle Martin.
To everyone else, he is the man who cares so much. Mm-hmm. He looks after so many. His ethics are smack bang on point.
Nicest person.
One of the nicest people ever. The LPA trusts and wills wizard. Without further ado, Martin Hoskins! Or Uncle Martin for you, Jim.
Uncle Martin.
Hello. Martin, good morning.
Good morning.
I know it feels weird. I know we're in the afternoon, but this gets released in the morning, so we just have to pretend.
Why do you always let out our secrets?
It was a bit
because guests come here.
Quiet, can you?
Hang on, can I tell the story that you told me earlier?
Hang on. Can I just jump in there and say it's not sunny? The blinds are shut. Even if it was, how would you tell?
It's the afternoon.
See, there you go. Now Martin's joined in the spoiling the whole thing.
This podcast is just lying.
Yeah, that's it. It's just made up. And we record it in 2022. Who knows? Anyway, Martin, good day. There we go. No, we won't get in trouble for it. Okay, Martin, you know the drill. You know the rules. We're going to take you back, what's about 15 years now, back to high school, back to school?
At least.
Something like that, 15-ish. Okay, so going back to high school, born, raised in this area or different?
A bit of both. Okay. So brought up in Romford.
Essex boy.
No, I mean geezer. Until I was 11.
And I have to ask a question.
Yes.
Inside or outside of London?
Romford.
I know.
That's outside.
I know people who live in Romford who claim they're in London because it's inside the M25, and other people claim it's outside because it's still Essex.
So London is only the square mile, and I wasn't born in the square mile.
Okay.
I lived in the square mile.
Fair.
So yeah, no.
Okay.
Like
I'm
Essex.
a Londoner. Yeah. A Londoner geezer. But I lost the accent a long time ago.
Okay, so 11 Romford. Where did you go from there?
My parents moved up to Beccles in Suffolk.
That must have been quite a change of pace.
I was the only Essex person speaking at the time in the whole school.
Little foreigner.
I was the little foreigner. Absolutely. It was very interesting. I was made to feel very welcome by the Suffolk community at the time. Yeah, okay, I'm lying.
I was going to say that doesn't sound like the true story.
Were we horrible? Were Suffolk people horrible?
Do you know,
No, just Beccles people.
I've loved living in Suffolk, and that's why I've eventually come back after moving away a couple of times. But yeah, education in Beccles was great. I had a great time living there. Yeah, initially I got picked on a little bit, but
learn how to have a thick skin.
But it's children, isn't it?
Learn how to fight.
Yeah, how to take a beating, absolutely.
Martin, the little scrapper.
Yeah, well, I had some fun at school, let's say. I wasn't actually the most academic, that's for sure.
Okay.
As you guys know from previous conversations, I was ill as a kid, quite bad asthma, so I ended up missing a lot of schooling when I was in Romford.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the Beccles kids were really sympathetic about that as well, right?
Yeah, they understood all of that.
Yeah, and the teachers were just the same. Oh, you're a thickie. Okay, well, we'll treat you like one. So I acted like one, as you do.
Well, this is what you do, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, yeah, so you get what you give. But no, I had just started going to scouts in Romford for about 6 months before we moved. I thought, well, I'll join something similar because I enjoyed that. And I joined the Sea Cadets because it's similar. And Beccles has got a beautiful River Waveney. And I was there till I was pretty much 18, I think. I just had a fabulous time.
Wow.
Learned loads. Yeah. Discipline, structure, all the things that...
Did you get a badge for tying knots?
I did get a badge for tying knots. Yeah, more than one, I think, actually. Yeah.
So I did scouts for about 3 months, and I remember getting a badge and feeling really proud about it. And then, that was about the end of 3 months.
Installed all the stuff that you were missing from school, that you weren't, the...
Structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, structure, discipline, all the things that I definitely needed, I gained from... Because my dad was a very strict dad, but... Yeah, to go out and actually socialise in the evening and do something that was also structured, I really liked that kind of lifestyle, yeah. Yeah, it was cool.
Okay, so how did school turn out qualifications-wise?
Oh, man, it was really, really good. So I got 3 CSEs.
Perfect. Congratulations.
Only just scraped in with those 3.
Like a Rodney from Only Fools and Horses. What did you get? Yeah, CSE in geography or something.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
But it's really nice. And again, I always like... It's quite funny because people think, yeah, hang on, I don't want to talk about it. It's like, no, you need to talk about this because we've had guests on that have gone and had, very much like you, where they've gone through school, had a really bad time, and then gone on to achieve some amazing things.
Yeah.
And there's so much pressure on kids today, oh, if you mess up your GCSEs, that's it. This is going to set up the rest of your life. If you do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do this.
You'll have no opportunities.
But actually, we've seen so many, absolute like trailblazers that have done some incredible things.
We've even had...
We're just going, school was just shit.
We even had an entrepreneur on, didn't we, who couldn't read or write.
Can't read and write.
But he can count money. That's what he said. I will never forget that. I can't read or write, but I can count money and I now run a business.
Well,
the nice part is he's 26 years old. He's just turned over 3 million quid, and he got told at high school, right, so there's no point you doing an extra language because you struggle enough with English. So why don't we send you off to like go and be a mechanic one day a week or something? Because, at least then you can get a vocational something. And he turned that in, 26, 27, and he's just done he went 2.4 million the year before, targeting 3 million this year.
And this is where schools really, they are, no disrespect to teachers, they do a tough job, but they only teach as much as they know.
Of course they do.
And they know nothing about building businesses or being entrepreneurial because that's not what they do.
That's not what they do.
So how, and even colleges and universities do not teach people to be successful in their own business, only if they work for somebody else.
They're not teaching life skills. You're not taught about mortgages and savings and finance.
I'm going to defend these because I'm a big advocate of people should do more of this, but they're starting to. I only say that because University of Suffolk has started doing stuff for businesses or business people, but it can be alumni, it can be students, anyone who wants to start a business, and they're bringing in a team of professionals to go, let's talk to them about this part of business, this part of business, this part of business, because the teachers aren't qualified to do it.
Hold on, they're bringing in a team of professionals.
Here comes the jars. Wait, you're going with that.
Aren't you on the panel?
Advisory capacity only, Jim.
Interestingly,
not educational.
I support that because
I think it's amazing. It's why, even though the 73 people they asked before me couldn't do it, as number 74 on the list, I went, yeah, absolutely. Because
I think the FSB are doing something similar locally.
Okay.
For, to bring people into the universities. So, yeah, I think it's a great thing as a intro to what can happen. So I went to a couple of high schools with a guy called Mark Sexton, who runs a networking event.
Oh, we know Mark.
In Essex.
I know Mark.
In Essex, yeah.
And one of his roles is to run, I forget what he calls them now, but they're basically for sixth formers or, as we would call them, to speak to professional people and find out a bit more about how they became self-employed and what business they've got and how they did it. And I think that's brilliant because they've suddenly got an insight into, you don't have to be an employee to be successful.
Yeah.
You can actually start your own business at some stage. Yeah.
It'd be so good if someone did that, like on a podcast or anything like that.
I'll get Mark in here.
Or we've already got it. Anyway, right. So, yeah. So you've left here, you've left school. So school's done. Sea Cadets good.
Yeah.
Obviously, you joined the Navy.
No.
Okay. That just felt to me like, obviously, that's the progression.
The obvious. Well, actually, I before I joined the military, I did a training course as a car mechanic or vehicle technician, as it's now known. And I went to college day release in Lowestoft for a number of months.
Another lovely place in Suffolk.
Yes. While working I was working at a car mechanic place in Beccles, and they were sending me a day release to do a 3-year course to be a qualified mechanic, which was all I wanted to be was ever.
You love cars, don't you?
I'm an absolute petrolhead. I love cars, yeah. And unfortunately, it was the late 70s, early 80s. There was recession and the company laid me off and I lost the course. And the next company that took me on wouldn't allow me to do the day release or support me with it financially, but they would allow me to work there because 5 years is a work experience is the equivalent to a 3-year qualification back then. Now, I think I was there for a year and a half. And I can't remember why I left. At the time, I didn't have a huge self-image.
Right.
So if I had any criticism, I didn't take it very well. And this involved me then having more than one job over a period of time.
Yeah.
In fact, a number of different jobs because I wasn't getting on with people who disagreed with me. Which sounds really silly when you're a new starter in a company.
I think it's an absolute flag trait for an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Because that entrepreneur has got, no, in my head it doesn't make sense, and I'm not just going to go the direction you're telling me to just because you're my boss. I don't follow the hierarchy. I have but that's not the right thing to do.
That was part of it. The other part was I'm not very good with bullies or people who think they can abuse their position, and I've always been the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about one particular scenario where an employee had been there longer than me and thought he could tell me what to do. And I obviously told him that's not going to happen.
I don't think so.
In no uncertain terms.
You sound like a model employee.
I was not quite. And we fell out, and apparently there was fisticuffs and stuff, and because he'd been there longer, I got the sack. So,
but you punched him, right?
I might have done.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's it.
But I know this is going back quite a long way because that happened more than once. And I had to really have a good look at myself with a bit of help from Dad to say, is it them that's got the issue or is it
Do
you?
I not just...
That's the problem. You always think, for the first 5, it's everyone else. And once it becomes 15, you're like, what's the common denominator here?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's a theme here.
So off to the army then.
So, yeah. So
did you consider the Navy? Because obviously, like Sea Cadets, it felt like a...
I considered the Navy, and the options were, if you join, you can potentially be on a ship and travel the world. But back then, it was something like only a quarter of sailors ever went to sea.
Okay.
The other 3/4 stayed land-based. And I thought, well, don't do that, do I? What's the point of that?
Oh.
So, and I considered it at 16, threw it away, became a mechanic. That was going to be my career. That didn't work out. Even though I worked on ski boats and speed boats and with V8 engines and V6 engines, and I had all
Look at the excitement as he even talks about that.
Engines and cars, lovely. But eventually I realised I wasn't holding a job down. I needed to be disciplined. I needed structure in my life. And I thought, why don't I just apply for the army?
Mm-hmm.
Where else would you get, structure?
Yeah,
so how long were you in the army for?
7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 years. Joined at 20, left at, I suppose I was nearly 28 by the time I left. So yeah.
Where did you get posted?
My first posting was to a barracks in Colchester.
I bet you felt like
no longer there.
Only 25% of people get to travel the world, and I get to go to Colchester.
Yeah, well,
I get to go literally back to Essex.
Very exciting. But I was only there 6 or 7 months, and we immediately, because when I joined the battalion, they were all abroad, and when they came back, they went on 2 weeks leave. So I had about a month where the barracks was virtually empty, and I was, I found my feet, I found my way around, and then they all came back. And then I was the new boy again with attitude. And no, seriously, I had a little, I know you can't believe it, but I had a little bit of attitude.
Was it a whole jacket potato or just a chip on your shoulder?
Oh no, mate, it was a spud in a packet.
It was a bag of Mara's Pipers is what it was.
And I met a couple of really nice corporals who showed me the error of my ways.
Yep. I imagine in the army, they quickly remove those pesky dirt-based
that's not going to work around here, Martin. Yeah.
Just outside, Corporal Osborne wants to have a word with you, Private Hoskins. So outside I went, and I got a bit of a pasting, but yeah. Mm-hmm. So you just learn the hard way. I learned the hard way that, this is structure, this is discipline. And actually, we then went into Northern Ireland training, where we all bonded very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And I spent 2 years in Northern Ireland, had a wonderful time over there, very exciting. Then we went to Gibraltar for a couple of years, which was, they call it a bullshit posting, excuse my French. Mm-hmm. But bulling boots, ironing uniforms, lots of marching and stuff like that, because there was a lot of ceremonial duties in Gibraltar, including the governor's Tuesday parade. And every Tuesday, I think they still do it, the local battalion would then march through the streets with the band and do a little parade for the visitors to the island. Well, it's not an island, but And I loved all that. But some of the guys didn't cope very well from going from green uniform, carrying live ammunition and being responsible for stuff, and then being told, right, polish your boots, march up and down,
doing uniform.
TikTok. So some of them couldn't cope and left. I loved all that. And then after a couple of years, we went to very exciting place called Colchester. we were then based there for quite a long time, but from there we went and did another tour of Northern Ireland. I did a 6-month tour, which was another exciting one. But I really enjoyed my military service. It was good.
And did it provide what you wanted it to? Did you get the structure, the discipline? You feel like it did change you? It
changed me a lot,
yeah,
and also allowed me to learn a lot about myself. So I went into the army thinking I was a bit thick. Only really good enough to be an infantry soldier, classed as a gravel belly or bottom of the ladder.
Grunt.
Yeah, one of those as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Nick.
Hang on. Beforehand, he said, I only give you shit. Now Liz is spreading it around, right?
Yeah.
But the first thing that happened to me, I think, that made me change or realise the change was being put on various different courses and being in the top 1 or 2 on every course I went on. Whether it be, first aid, paramedic, driving, corporal's courses, all sorts of courses. And I did well in all of them.
Was there a temptation to carry on in the army?
Well, the reason I did 7 years and not the 9 that I agreed to do is because my father fell very ill after about 6 years. And he had a heart condition. He was ill enough in his early 50s that they thought he was going to die every time they phoned me up. So I was sent home a couple of times because they thought it'd be the last time I'd see him. And unfortunately, the old bugger was a tough bugger and he survived. But during one of these episodes, I was on exercise in Thetford.
Right.
Right.
Went to some lovely places.
Massive training area, Thetford, really exciting, exotic place.
Yeah.
And
running through the forest and trying not to kill the people at Centre Park.
Well, something like that, when we blanks and stuff, yeah. And I got a phone call. Your dad's been rushed into hospital. He's very ill. We need you back here. Your mum and your sister need your support. Fine. I'm on my way. When I spoke to my platoon commander at the time, and he said, I'm sorry, Corporal Hoskins, but your dad's been ill before and he survived, so I'm sure he'll be fine. So I explained, sorry, sir, you don't understand. I'm not asking permission to leave. I'm going to see my dad.
Yeah.
And then I got if you leave Corporal Hoskins, you'll be in a charge and you'll be AWOL and we'll have you busted and all the other stuff. And I said, well, see you when I get back. So I went and saw my dad, who survived the experience yet again, which didn't do my credibility any good. And when I got back, I got charged with, being AWOL. I didn't get a very big punishment because the Regiment Sergeant Major completely understood.
Yeah.
That he had to be seen to be doing his duty. And I just thought, you know what? It's not all about army. It's family. Family is more important than army. Yeah. And for them, it was just, it's all army first.
Yeah.
So I thought, it's not for me anymore. And once I'd made my mind up, that was it. I was gone.
Yeah.
But, so I had to buy myself out.
Okay.
And
no one ever hears about this.
No. Well, I bought myself out, but I was deferred or turned down. And they can turn you down back then twice. And there's a 3-month gap before you can apply again.
Oh, wow.
So I spent 9 months applying before I eventually got out. And during that 9 months...
So you asked to get out and they said, no, you're not allowed out.
Yeah, because I had qualifications that they needed at the time.
Yeah.
So our listeners are going to want to know, how much did it cost to get you out of the army? Ish.
Back in 1990, it was about 700 quid.
But you're still having to buy yourself out of a contract, effectively.
Yeah. And 700 quid was a lot
back then,
of money.
Yeah,
for a squaddy on minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was determined I was going. Once they said you can't go, it was like, I'm definitely going now.
I mean, I'm definitely going now. Yeah.
Okay, so you left. Obviously, we're able to focus on family.
Yep.
What was the career? Where was now the well-disciplined Martin heading off to next?
Well-disciplined but unstructured.
Oh gosh, we're back.
So I was working. So I was doing a little bit of moonlighting as a squaddy in Colchester, and at weekends on a Friday night, I'd go down to London and I'd be a security guard wherever they wanted me to be for this particular company, and there was quite a few of us doing it, and they would pay us, for a weekend's work, pretty much what we get for a whole week in the army.
Oh wow!
So we were enjoying it, and they heard I was leaving, and they said, look, when you eventually leave, do you want to come and work for us for a bit until you find your feet? I'm like, yeah, great, fantastic. I had no idea what I was going to do. I was just getting out.
Yeah.
I worked with them for 2 years. But initially, they gave me a company car. And at the time...
Ford Granada.
No, it was a Peugeot 205 diesel.
Nice.
1.9.
Okay, yeah.
No turbo, gutless.
Yeah.
But I did get pulled over for speeding at 98 on the M25. I didn't know it was an unmarked car, did I? Anyway.
They should let you know so you can slow down.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it did let me know when he caught up with me and the little blue lights in the mirror suddenly went... But I enjoyed the job because I'd not long left Northern Ireland. I'd done an awful lot of martial arts before and during my army career. So I was quite confident as a person in that respect. So they sent me to all the trouble spots. And they had a contract with Tesco's.
Was this all in London?
Mostly London, not all of it. Some was in Peterborough, a few other places I went to. Okay. Yeah, so I travelled all over the place in this company car. I'll do a 12-hour shift during the day somewhere like Tesco's. And then I'd go and do a 12-hour shift in a night location. And then they'd tell me, you're not allowed to sleep, but just don't get caught. So you'd have a couple of hours kip. I mean, it wasn't really healthy very much, but I'd work 12 days on, never have a weekend off. Unless my dad was ill. It was, and I was earning loads of money. It was great. Company car, well happy. But eventually, after 2 years, that got a bit much. So
I can imagine.
It was probably, and I was working in a shopping centre in Chelmsford as a security staff, walking around looking like a tough guy, arms wider than they should be.
Yeah.
And one of the ladies in one of the shops who I got friendly with said, I've got an opportunity for you. I think you should come around to my house and meet my husband.
Oh, God.
I'm like, right.
One of them, Mark.
Well,
hang on, I've got an opportunity for you. You should come around to my house when my husband's out. No,
not
that kind of opportunity.
Definitely not that kind of opportunity.
Okay.
No. And the opportunity was network marketing.
Okay.
It
was Amway. Have you heard of Amway? So back in the day, Amway was the big networking marketing organisation.
I'm guessing back in the day they were better than they are now.
Oh,
because we're both kind of, have you heard of them?
Well, no. They
maybe they're not even about anymore.
They're not. I don't think they're about anymore, actually. Okay. Or if they are, they're very small. But they were a massive thing. I would go along to the NEC where they would hold events once or twice a year, and have successful people across the stage explaining how they got there and helping. It was all about helping other people succeed in order for you to succeed. So you'd build a little team of people under you. And I had no experience of selling.
Hang on, does that not just say pyramid scheme?
Pyramid.
Yeah.
Sorry, multi-level marketing. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So they did explain the difference to me, and I argued the toss with a lot of people.
Yeah, I normally they go one sells a product, but when you're talking about networking, it doesn't feel like there's one of those either. But yeah, anyway.
Well, it was interesting.
It was the 90s, right? The rules are different then.
It was.
Yeah.
And they were, but apparently they broke the rules and
that's why no one knows of it.
That's why the company's not heard of now.
But what I learnt from that organisation was that we had what was called a tape of the week. This is how far back it was. We'd have a tape recorder of a successful person talking about how to succeed, and it'd be business knowledge or it'd be personal development. And you'd have a book a month, and I was rubbish at reading, so it took me about 6 months to read one book, but I'd buy one every month anyway. But I grew as a human being, as a person, because I wanted to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I knew I was ready to move on from being a squaddy and an army guy, and I'd realised I was probably a bit more intelligent than I thought I was back as a kid. And I just read, and I started to read and really enjoyed it and got into it, and lots of personal development books. And then a friend of mine said, "You'd be really good at selling, Martin." I'm like, "I can't sell. What are you on about?" Anyway, a few months later,
you have 17 people beneath you. 831 beneath that. Trust me, you can sell. And they've all bought fresh air, but it doesn't matter because it's making you money.
In Amway, the levels start at 3% and go up to, I think it was 21%.
Yeah.
I never got above 3%.
Really?
I was with them for, must have been 6 or 7 years. Never got above 3%. But I went to all the meetings, I read the books, I listened to the audios.
You believe Tony Robbins?
Ish.
Oh, before Tony Robbins, maybe.
Yeah, but that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But most of the successful people were people within Amway talking about their success and how they got to where they got. And others like Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
But I found it all fascinating. And I read and grew. And when someone said you should be in sales, I thought, and then a sales job came up. I thought, do you know what? I'll go along for the interview just to see.
Just to see.
You know, I've got nothing to lose, you know, and they said, yeah, when do you want to start? I was like, so I took the job, which was selling cable TV in Norwich.
This is before NTL.
Oh, it was, yeah,
Must have been, I guess.
It was before NTL. Bell Cable Media was the name of the company, who were bought out by something like NTL.
Yeah.
And only a quarter of Norwich had actually been cabled at that point. Mostly it was council estates. Because people
obviously a nice easy sale. Yeah, we'd like to buy this. Yes. We can't because you've got cable.
When people say to me, was it an easy road into selling? No. Having a door shut in your face, being told to off, and all those other things they say to you. I got all of that.
So that had been back when it was literally door to door?
It was door to door. Yeah. Knocking on the door, I'm from the local, I'll go away.
Yeah.
My friend.
Watching Anglian windows going in front of him. Dropping off their thing. Oh, do you know about UPVC double?
I mean, you laugh about it, but that's exactly how, looking back, that's probably what I was like. I was just on the door selling products that, that they had available to them because it was out there in the street, but it wasn't in the house.
Yeah.
Also, going back to people who had defunct on their payments, had it cut off, a couple of months later, I go back and try to sell it back to them again. I mean, how crazy is that?
It's stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, and they go, yeah, go on, what's the deal this month? Well, if you do this. But it was a good intro to selling. And then I worked for a newspaper, the Waveney Advertiser in Lowestoft, Lowestoft again.
Yeah.
And worked there for a year or so. So I got a good introduction to, how to deal with people, how to work with people.
Yeah.
So how did you get from sales to what you do now?
Well, when you think about it, what I'm doing every day is selling.
Yeah, but I think so. Everything ultimately has an underlying tone of sales.
I know where you're going with this.
But you do so much good to help so many people. Selling doesn't feel like what you do. You're providing such a service to people.
It's more caring now. It's more nurturing. It's more when you were going up to people's doors. You didn't really.
I mean, you didn't give a shit what was on the TV. You just went, sign up here because I get paid if you do.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas right now you're actually trying to go, well, let's find the right solution for these people.
So the difference now is...
I mean, the only solution you found is like, do you want the top package? Can you afford this much money?
How much can you afford a month?
Yeah.
£5?
Yeah.
That'll do.
They'll stop paying in 3 months' time and then you'll be back again.
Yeah. Direct debit. Job done.
Happy days. And then I get another sign-up fee. Yeah, bonus.
But we are talking 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And in that interim period, I've gone from being a salesman to a consultant.
Yeah.
So what I do now is consultative selling, which is what most business people do. Mm-hmm. You're consulting with the client to find out what their needs are and then providing them with a solution to their requirements, which is what I do. So if they need a will, great. What else do you want to do with it? You want to protect your house? Well, we need to do a certain kind of trust that does that. Mm-hmm. You've got a business? Well, there's a different type of trust that does that, or we can incorporate it into this package instead. You need powers of attorney? Yeah, we can do that.
So what got you first into like wills and trusts? Was it a sales role you just applied for, and then it's just spiraled from there?
No, funnily enough, what was I doing? I was doing a bit of telesales work in between roles. I had a business. Mm-hmm. I had a franchise called About My Area Ipswich, which was I bought the franchise, which was the website and the empty website for the Ipswich area, and paid a lot of money for it. I'd sold my house. I was single. I'd gone through a divorce. I thought, well, now's a good time to invest in me. Mm-hmm. So I bought this franchise and I populated the whole website with whatever I wanted. So I had a whole section on cars. Surprise,
obviously.
No.
And around the car section on each page would be sections where people could buy an advertising space. So I'd go around to the local garages and the dealers and get them to advertise on it. I also had a disability section for people with any kind of disability. And I'd go around to, again, organisations that could sell products that would benefit disabled people. I had a What's On section. What's on in Ipswich, which would, whether it be something happening in Christchurch Park or it could be the theatre. And again, I would sell over. So I had lots of different sections that people could go on to. There was one just for women, there was one just for men, there was clothes, there was all sorts. But it was just me. And I would go out and sell advertising onto these pages and then create whatever the client needed as an advert and everything else. And I was working stupid amounts of hours because it was just me and I was single. It didn't really matter. And then the franchise went bust. So when you think, what's the safest way of getting into business? And everyone said to me, oh, buy a franchise, Martin. Franchises are the most secure way. And I had it researched by other people and that's great. No. So I was about 1.5 years in, 2 years in, and it went kaput.
All that time and
lost a lot of money. Of money. At that point, you look at yourself and think, did I really need to sell the house? Should I have done that? But it was a great learning curve, and I went and worked for a couple of friends, did a bit of part-time work, and then I met someone who said, can you do some part-time work for me? Book an appointment. I said, yeah, I could do a bit of telesales. I could do anything like that. And it was a financial advisor who was also doing wills as a sideline to his business, which I now realise was a dreadful thing to do. But some still do it, but it happens. Mm-hmm. So I booked a bunch of appointments and I got interested in what he was doing and he told me a bit about it. And I said, you know what, that sounds interesting. He then said, do you want to go out and speak to a few of these clients? I started doing that. He didn't like how successful I was because I was earning a good amount of money. And 6 months later, he changed the whole package while I was on holiday and told me I hadn't earned as much as I thought I'd earned because he changed the package while I was on holiday. So I left.
50% became 10%.
Yeah. Something like that.
Flat fee for an appointment plus 10%. Yeah.
It's slightly different. Generally, it was, I was expecting, I don't know, a couple of grand and it was suddenly it was 1,500 quid. So I said, well, thank you very much, but I'm not happy with that. Mm-hmm. I then went and spoke to someone I had met through networking. He didn't even remember me. But I met this guy and I said, look, you're a will writing company. At the time, it was him and his wife who was working part-time. And we had a chat and he said, well, look, I'm looking to build a sales team. And you seem like the kind of guy who's used to building sales teams. And at that point, I'd built loads of sales teams. Yeah. Through advertising and I'd done IT recruitment and various other things. And that's what I did. And I spent the best part of 6 years with him and we built a team up to about 13 in the end.
Oh, wow.
And I trained all the salespeople, the telesales, field sales, whatever. And we just loved it. I loved the job. He was what's called step qualified, which is the highest qualification in the industry. So he trained me to the same level without doing the qualification, I have to say. And then he decided I was earning too much money. And one Christmas decided not to pay me my bonus and didn't tell me. I just found out because it didn't go in my bank account. And this is supposed to have gone in there between Christmas and New Year, end of the month, and it didn't. And he wasn't available on the phone. Eventually spoke to his wife who said, I think he's changed the package and he doesn't think you qualified. Bit of a routine going on here, Nick.
Sounds like there's kids back in Beccles.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah,
I see the theme here, yeah.
And what it was, at that point, he was giving me a £30,000 budget per year to generate leads, which would turn into business. Mm-hmm. And that had been happening for about 3 years. I'd always hit target. It was an annual target. And at the end of this third year of doing this particular package, he eventually spoke to me and said, well, look, Martin, you had a really bad October. I said, well, I didn't have a bad October. I just didn't quite achieve what I wanted to achieve, but it's an annual target and I smashed the target. Yeah, but you had a really bad October.
He just kept focusing on that 1 month.
Exactly. And that's why he decided he wasn't going to pay me. So we had meetings and he eventually agreed to pay me half and I accepted that because I knew that's all I was going to get. Mm. And as soon as I got it, I left.
Time to move on.
Yeah. And I went and joined a national company and become part of their team, which worked very well. I was experienced in sales, experienced in will writing and estate planning, and they had a national training team. So they invited me to join that after a couple of years, which was brilliant. Enjoyed that. Enjoyed training other people was good fun. Teaching other people skills that you've picked up along the way is good fun. So yeah, that's pretty much how I ended up.
So why did you then go from that one to out on your own?
God, you'll never believe this, Nick.
Let me guess. Hang on. We're going to have a guess, right? Ready? Let's see if we can do this. So what happened was I checked my pay and I was due a bonus and they'd changed the rules and moved the goalposts on me and hadn't paid my full bonus. Go on then. Let's see how close I am.
Not quite.
Okay.
But you're in the right direction. So
you've got into fisticuffs with someone?
No. I stopped doing that years ago.
No. That's the thing. When you realise that he didn't go and smack his boss for not paying his bonus, we know he's matured beyond that now.
Let me just add.
He just gets paid, then he goes.
I'll add at this point, I stopped smacking people when they started hitting me back and they were bigger than me, which was at school. But no, so no, I've not done that sort of thing for a long, long time, and I wouldn't because it's not the ethics that I developed. I think probably during and after the army.
Yeah.
That's just not the way you deal with stuff anymore. But what happened in this national company was that the promises that they had made at the beginning weren't coming to fruition, and it was then becoming clear they were never going to. And I thought, well, do you know what? I'm just doing the job. I was self-employed, but working for this company. And I couldn't work for anybody else. I was restricted as to what I can and couldn't do. As whether that's legal or not, I don't know. But, that's if you went and worked for somebody else, you wouldn't have a job. So everyone just worked their socks off. And it was a very nice little community when I started. And it got too big. The company got too big. And I thought, well, all I'm doing is helping somebody else grow their business. And they're getting, fatter paychecks on the work I'm doing.
Time to do it for you.
Yeah, I just do it for myself.
You're not getting nothing that you were promised. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, and to be fair to the company, I had lots of wonderful holidays in places like Vienna and we did Ibiza the first time, which was exciting. But there's so many beautiful places out there. We went to Rome. We just did all sorts of wonderful long weekends away, which we qualified for, by achieving certain targets. But I'm a very ethical person, as you guys have mentioned, and some of the sales staff that they were starting to bring in.
I think to be fair, ethics is a word that's overused and feels so much deeper than it needs to be. I always have this thing of going, look, it's not about, I don't believe in someone's. I just believe that people, if they're going to say something, they should just do it. A person is as good as their word. If you promise to do something, just see it through.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter about, whether or not this or whether or not that. You gave your word.
Yeah.
Just stick to it. Even if it doesn't work for you right now, at least you'll have your word intact.
And I think that's a lot to do with morals and ethics, isn't it? I mean, for me...
it's one of those things like with your boss that, you can have a bonus if you do this. You achieve it. Guess what? He can sit you down and say, guess what, Martin? We can't do this anymore because it's costing me too much money to keep paying this bonus. However, I'm going to stick to my word. I've paid you your bonus based on last year. Now we need to just renegotiate things for this year because I need to just reweigh it up. And you go, all right, fine. I don't like things changing, but at least you had the decency to have a conversation about it and stick to your word for historical stuff.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah. It would be nice if the world was like that.
Yeah, it would be.
If it helps, I've only got one or two people in business that I refuse to ever work with, and it's for that exact reason.
Right.
If ever anyone will say to me, Nick, this is what I'm going to do, and then they welch on it, I don't ever want to do business with that person.
Completely.
I don't care what money they're going to give me. I'm just waiting for the next time and go, but your word doesn't mean anything to me.
And I think you have to stick by your own personal morals.
Yeah.
There was a company I worked for, I don't remember how long ago, it was a long time ago, who was selling business telephone units, that's how old it was, business telephone units to businesses as a new unit. And they're based up in Hull, and a couple of brothers, and I got interviewed down here, and I was, again, fairly successful. I provided the client with what they needed, and everyone was happy. And then one day I got a phone call from one of my clients, a very big company who had this massive telephone unit, I can't remember how many, but let's say it was something like 24 lines and 200 phones or something. It was a lot. It was a big deal. And he phoned me up and said, Martin, he says, I thought I was supposed to get a new unit. And I said, well, you have? He said, well, I definitely haven't. Do you want to come and have a look? So I went and all the way, I think it was somewhere in the Midlands. And I went and had a look at this unit, and it clearly was an old unit that had been cleaned up. And
second hand.
Yeah. And painted and revamped. So I then contacted the company and spoke to one of the senior directors, and then eventually got through to one of the two brothers, the proper directors. And he said, well, look, Martin, he said, I think you should come up to the head office and we'll have a chat about it and resolve this problem. I mean, great, brilliant. I had a company car, so I drove up there and got invited into the office. 2 big desks in this massive office, the two brothers, one behind each desk, and me in this little chair on the other side of the room.
That's compensating.
I was
From
thinking,
you realise that, right?
I do, yeah. And I was
They're
immediately
compensating for
thinking,
something right there.
there's a reason why this is a smaller chair, and they're over that side. Anyway, they basically said, if you don't like the way we work, because what I found out was that they were buying old buildings that were being knocked down or revamped, and they were buying the telephone system out of them, taking them away, cleaning them up, and then selling them as new.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So I basically approached them about it, and they said, if you don't like it, give us your keys and off you go. I said, great.
Here's the keys, and I'm off.
Can I have a lift to the station, please?
Here's the keys. I'll walk home, shall I?
One of the managers gave me a lift down to the train station. I came home. That was the end of that. I was not going to work for a company that had that kind of ethical behaviour.
No. Okay, quick fire questions for you.
Oh.
If you could have your time over again, would you carry on to the business or the career path you're at right now?
Yes.
That's a nice thing.
Good. I like that.
Okay, second one. If someone was looking to get into this industry, what advice would you give them?
I would say start with a company that will give you good training and promise and provide good ongoing training and support, because there's a lot to learn and it's easy to get it wrong. And you don't want to be self-employed or have your own company in a legal firm and not get it right. So you need to make sure you get it right.
Okay, that's a good one.
Like that, yeah.
What skills would you say are most prevalent or most useful for the job that you do?
You obviously need to be a good people person. You need to be able to communicate with people, but also to be... I don't think sales is a requirement to be in this industry. So I've met quite a few people who have come into this industry who didn't have any sales background. But you do need to have an empathy to understand what people's needs are, and then the willingness to find a solution. And there are too many people in my industry, unfortunately, who are just after the big bucks.
Yeah.
They're just after selling whatever they can. There's lots of companies out there promoting and encouraging people to sell big deals, whether the client needs it or not.
So there could be option X, Y, and Z. They'll push for Z even though...
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question number 4.
Oh, there's more?
Yeah.
Oh.
We had 3. Oh, that was 3.
You had 3.
Yeah.
Question number 4.
Yeah.
Jordan Belfort.
Yeah.
Master salesman or total criminal?
Oh, a master salesman who became a total criminal.
I agree. Perfect one. And finally, point 5. What on all of your jobs in your whole career, what would be that one moment that you always hold with you as the one that you go, that made me feel I had purpose, or that was the one that made me feel happiest or warmest or whatever?
There's 2 sides to that one, if I'm honest. The military was definitely an area where I grew and learnt that I wasn't stupid after all. And perhaps I did have a better place in this world than I initially thought. And my self-esteem, my self-confidence all grew. But then the joining Amway and willingly joining the self-development program that they had was a massive learning curve for me. And it changed me from a roughy-tufty squaddy into, the person I am today, really. Because I still read, I still listen to audio, self-development programs,
Podcasts,
obviously.
Yeah. Only one podcast.
Obviously. So yeah, I would say that
they're both about personal growth. I like both of them at very different times in your life, but both definitely about recognizing what it is that what you can achieve.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, what makes me who I am and who I wanted to be.
Who you truly are. Yeah.
And now we've rounded off exactly who you are. Martin Hoskins, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you for listening to the Fun Side of Business podcasts, brought to you by Any IT for any of your IT requirements. Why not catch Nick and Jem on the Extra Slice, available to all our subscribers? Thanks for listening.